Hey guys, Robin with B.Blumen here. We are doing a new series on our social media where we're doing reminders for different months out of the year in gardening. And so I wanted to come on here and give a little bit more detail because of course in social media we're rushing and it's got to be within a certain time limit and we always have so many more questions. So I thought this would be a nice long form way for me to kind of explain everything more in depth and give you other tips. So starting off, I talked about succession planting in my reel. That is like one of your big July reminders. This is so important. Here on the farm, we actually only have about half an acre that we of plantable space. And I flip the beds 4 to 5 times a year. So we grow like a farm 2.5 acres, right? So by pushing more crops into your soil, one, it's good for your soil because you're keeping all of the biodiversity in the soil very happy and engaged. It's kind of an old wives' tale that you want your soil to rest. That's not really what you want. You want to always have something going on in the soil because you want that root, fungus, bacteria interaction and ecosystem not to have too long of a lull. So, succession planting. What we're doing right now as far as that goes is I have zinnias in the greenhouse. We'll stay on top of those. I usually start them every like 3 weeks or so, a new round of them to go into the ground. Celosia I do that with, especially your single stem celosias. So that's coxcomb celosia, the Sunday celosia, these ones that they have a beautiful flower head, but it's like one plant gives you one stem. Once I harvest that plant, it's gone, right? So I stay on top of getting those guys started. And then of course, sunflowers is a huge one that we succession plant. These guys, they're probably going to be harvested in about 3-4 days, and these ones I just harvested today. You use them so quick. The single stem sunflowers especially, it's one seed, one plant, one flower, and so we'll start 100 to 200 seeds every week of those guys. So you get a ton of sunflower crops in. And July is it's just a good time. August is usually very hot no matter where you live. And so with July, you can usually get seeds through that first, couple weeks of just germination and getting acclimated to the world. And then in the ground roots by the time it's stressful in August. Yeah, I don't know. Succession planting is one of those like huge hacks. I just wish everybody did. Even if you just have like your personal garden, it's one of those things where it just keeps it beautiful if you can kind of keep fresh plants moving through it. So first big one is that. Second big one is checking your irrigation system. Now, I know everybody has different irrigation systems, right? I mean, you might have, if you live in a residential area, you might have a sprinkler system that just kind of sprays or mists everything. Just with that, run the system, make sure all of the heads are working, make sure nothing's broken, nothing's bubbling, because a dry spot in the garden, you might not notice until it's too late, right? The damage might have already been done for the plants. And I know that here we had a really nice, generous spring as far as rain is concerned. And so you might not know, right? You might not know that you have something not working in the system. Second one is drip. That's what we have on the farm. We get all of our drip system from DripWorks. And with these guys, I just go through, I make sure that there's no holes in the tape and replace any tape that might have holes that's kind of like spritzing out. Make sure that there's no algae buildup in the lines. That's something to always think of. If you have exposed PVC, then you will inevitably get algae buildup. So we have little boxes over all of our PVC on the farm so that you can't, or it's buried, of course, so that you don't get too bad of algae buildup. If that does happen, if you're like, it's clogged, I don't know what's going on, then open up the PVC, whether that's in your poly tube or whatever, open it up and turn it on, and that'll flush the system. That'll kind of push all the algae out. It's crazy how much comes out of that sometimes. It's wild. So yeah, checking your irrigation. And then my other tip was make sure you stay on top of fertilizing. So it's really interesting because basically aphids, spider mites, grasshoppers, all of these horrible, horrible pests in the summer, those guys are only attracted to unhealthy or stressed plants. So literally the whole goal in the summer should be to keep your plants not stressed, right? So that starts in your soil, making sure that you prioritize your soil health. That's where your plant's entire ecology is basically happening, or most of it. And so you really want to just throughout the year, winter, no matter the season, prioritize healthy soil. Comment below if you want me to do a whole like soil biology, soil health video, because I love talking about it. But with the fertilizing, you want to, what I do is foliar sprays, which is basically I have a backpack sprayer and I put Garrett juice or soil salsa in the backpack, and then I fill it up with water. It's like a light tea color, and I spray the leaves of our entire farm, of all of the plants. And that builds up like a healthy membrane on the leaf. It kind of doesn't taste as good to the pests, but most importantly, it spoils them. And so it keeps them happier. And like I said, the happier the plant, the less attractive it is to pests. It's honestly, it's the most important thing that we do. I mean, these last 2 years, this has been an okay summer. Last 2 years, it's been 105 every day here in Texas throughout the summer. And so that was the hack that I learned our second year farming, is just do everything I can, water more than I think I need, stay on top of fertilizing every single week, stay on top of deadheading, just these things that keep the plant healthy. Because basically what it is by the plant being healthy, it has a ton of sugar in its leaves, and that sugar is actually indigestible to things like grasshoppers. They'll sit next to the leaf and not be able to eat it. So biggest tip for sure, in July and in August, like continue this throughout the summer, right? And honestly, other than that, it's kind of what I just mentioned. Kind of your July chores should be stay on top of deadheading. Don't let too many things go to seed, unless you want them to, of course. I mean, if you want them to and you're okay with them not being aesthetic, but you're like, oh, I want this plant to go to seed, so I might get some volunteers next year, great, do it. But if you're really going for like aesthetics, or you're going for harvesting for cut flowers, don't let things go to seed as best you can, of course, because once a plant goes to seed, it's completed its life cycle, and it's going to start to die. It's going to start to kind of be like, yay, I did my job, I'm good to go, and kind of consolidate energy again. So I think that's it. Of course, I'll think of a couple of other things. This is something that I want to do regularly, so expect another one in August. And then if we ever have a reel or something that I do on social media, like I'm about to do one that's the 5 most heat tolerant annuals that we grow here on the farm. And I know I'm not going to be able to fit all the information I want to into that video, so I'll probably do another YouTube where we'll kind of talk a little bit more about it. So yeah, guys, if you have any ideas, any information that you want to learn from me, Texas flower farmer, then comment below, and I hope you have a good day, guys. Bye.